Hello friends, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Elise, and this is my mystical bookshelf. And today I have book 2 of the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, The Ballad of Never After. Let's talk about why Apollo sucks. Come on. Okay, so yeah, Apollo. He's not the greatest. He's definitely an interesting pseudo love interest, I would say. And The Ballad of Never After really kind of cements into my brain like how messed up their love story is. Like, I think it's interesting that he got cursed and then he tries to kill Evangeline throughout most of Ballad of Never After. I was really rooting for like a redemption arc because I thought his letter that he wrote Evangeline was really sweet, and I think it came from a good place. But this book, The Ballad of Never After, really shines a light upon why Jax and Evangeline are meant to be together, because I know that a lot of people say that they're not each other's one true love, but we learn that, I think we learn in this book that Jax is the archer in The Ballad of the Archer and the Fox, and I can only assume that Evangeline is the fox because of her last name, and I feel like her description is kind of like, if she were an animal, she would be a fox, for sure. But yeah, so The Ballad of Never After, this was like a mic drop book, in my opinion. It's definitely the strongest book in the book series, I would say. I've never said that about a sequel before, but, you know, listening to it on Libby, I was like losing my mind. It's really good. Especially like the part where Jax and Evangeline are in the hollow together and they have this amazing, beautiful love scene together, and it's just so sweet and wholesome, and it made my heart hurt. It was so cute. Like, I can understand why people really like this book series. It is so strong, and I loved all the descriptions of the hollow as well. And I know that part doesn't come until like the end, or like, I don't know, halfway in the book maybe. But the hollow is such a strong scene for Evangeline and Jax, and I don't think it was anything to do with the birthstone or any of the other stones that they had to gather. I think it was just truly Jax letting his guard down and really being with Evangeline, and I love that. I love that for him because he was really hard character in the beginning. Like, I didn't like him at first when I first started reading this book series, but like once you get to know Jax and you understand his heartbreak and what he had done to him, and then we understand more of his backstory in The Ballad of Never After, he's a really good love interest. I'm gonna say that. He's written really well. I think Stephanie writes him very well. I think Stephanie also writes Evangeline very well. And I know she's very naive still in The Ballad of Never After, but she definitely has a lot of character growth, especially in the third book. But the third book I will save for another video. I'm trying to do sometimes I do series overviews, but I'm trying for this book series to do one book at a time because there's just so many intricate thoughts that I have about each of them. And I just finished re-listening to Once Upon a Broken Heart, so I really want to re-listen to The Ballad of Never After because this would be my second read-through of the series as a whole, but I've technically read the first book 3 times. But yeah, so The Ballad of Never After is basically the best sequel that I have ever read in my life, and the ending, it like broke my heart and tore it out and spat on it, and I was like, wait a minute, what are we talking about? What do you mean? What do you mean, Stephanie? Like, seriously, I couldn't handle the ending. I really couldn't. I was so sad for Chaos. I was so sad for him. I was like, brother, what are you doing? Like, this is a big spoiler, but I could not believe he went feral on Evangeline. I was like, oh my gosh, bro. What do you mean? Like, I was listening to it at work, as I do, and I had to pause it because I'm like, I had to look at my workspace for a minute, like a blank stare, like, what do you mean that's the end? And then I was so, like, I think what this love story brings to the table in terms of how I view it in, like, the Christian way is such sacrificial love. Like, the way Jax, like, sacrifices using his stones to not make himself happy, but to bring Evangeline back. I'm just like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. I'm so happy for you. But, I mean, it was a double-edged sword, his sacrifice for Evangeline. Because that, like, what Apollo did when he came back from his curse, and I'm just like, why would you steal her memories? Like, the stark contrast between Jax's sacrificial love and Apollo's, like, we understand he's a very selfish person. I'm just like, I had to stop for a minute because that was a real big mic drop moment for me. I just could not believe that Apollo would take Evangeline's memories like that from her. Like, I have no idea what was going through his brain when he did that, but that is, like, I almost want, like, his love for her, it seems almost obsessive, even after he gets out of the love spell and out of the Ballad of the Ballad of the Archer and the Fox curse. Like, his love for her is really, like, he has it feels not even like love, but it's like he wants to have power over her, and I think that's really creepy. And I don't like him. I really don't like him. I liked him a little bit in Once Upon a Broken Heart. I thought he was okay, but, like, he wasn't astounding to me. I obviously thought Jax was better, even though I still didn't like him too much. But, yeah, in the Ballad of Never After, his character development went down, way down for me. And I'm like, he really is like Hans from Frozen. Like, he gets Evangeline under his thumb, and then he takes her memories, and I'm just like, it hurt my heart to see that Evangeline's memories were stolen from her, because she had some super great memories of her mom and dad and of Jax, and I think even the memories with her mom and dad are what really made me want to cry, because it's like, she lost her whole childhood just because Apollo wanted to selfishly have power over her and hold on to her as, like, a wife. I don't even think he really even wanted her to be his wife. I mean, not really. That's not what marriage is. And I think it's really interesting how Stephenie, like, puts a spin on their marriage as it feels like a false marriage. I think in terms of the church, it would definitely be considered a false marriage because Evangeline and Apollo got married under the pretense of a curse and a love spell, so their marriage would definitely not be kosher in the Catholic Church, which I think is interesting. So the fact that Evangeline, like, cheats on Apollo, I guess, doesn't really bother me, even though I'm not a huge fan of, like, cheating tropes. But I don't consider it cheating because Apollo manipulates Evangeline when they're married, and they got married under false pretenses, so really it's not even really a marriage. So I just don't really consider it anything of that big of a deal, because Jax and Evangeline are obviously meant to be together, and I think Apollo had what was coming to him in the third book, and I will talk about that when we go into it in the next video, because that was also, like, I can't believe that just happened. But the Ballad of Never After, it's super strong. It's a strong sequel. I'm really proud of Stephenie for writing this book series because it's really, really good. And I think she should continue the books, even if it's just, like, little novellas here and there. I think she should also consider writing a book about Chaos and Lala, because I started to ship them in the second book, and I see that it wasn't just a me thing, it's an everyone thing, and I'm glad that I'm on that train, because I really think Lala and Chaos are really cute. They totally are. they're people that I think are meant to be together too, because I think Lala has been through so much, and I really loved Lala throughout this whole book series, especially in The Ballad of Never After. I really think she's a true friend to Evangeline, and I'm a huge fan of strong female friendships. That's something that really drew me in with The Ballad of Never After. It's not just the love interest between Jax and Evangeline, but it was also like the friendship part between Lala and Evangeline, and I also like the friendship between Chaos and Jax. And that's what made me the most sad when Chaos went feral on Evangeline, because it was like, that was like Jax's best friend, and I know he just couldn't help himself because he had the helm on him for so long, and then they opened the arch, and it was like he got to see his whole family again, and his family wanted to take his helm off because he had not had it on for so long, but he hadn't like truly fed like a true vampire. So I understand why it happened, but it just made me so sad. I just felt so bad for Jax and Evangeline and Chaos, and I think that ending especially, The Ballad of Never After, sets up a really, really good cliffhanger, and if I wasn't able to listen to A Curse for True Love like immediately afterwards, I probably would have lost my mind, because I was like, you can't just leave me like that, Stephanie. You can't leave me like that. You can't strike an arrow through me and expect me to be okay. So I was really happy I could read A Curse for True Love like immediately afterwards, because I think Stephanie, what she does really well also is like, she does cliffhanger endings really well, and I find that super interesting, and it really draws me in and wants me to keep reading, because sometimes cliffhangers aren't done very well, but I think Stephanie has it on the nose with the cliffhanger endings, because I immediately wanted to pick up A Curse for True Love, and I'm really excited to talk about it in next week's video. But on that note, those are pretty much all my thoughts on The Ballad of Never After. I'm going to try and listen to it again. I'm going to see, because I have it on hold again on Libby, because it wasn't ready for me to re-listen to yet. And I understand, I think it's a popular book series, but I digress. But thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, friends!